Hello everybody and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is JP. Well guys, tonight it's the post-match of the Annihilation in the Glasgow Derby. Oh, it feels good to say that, boys. I've been waiting to say that for yesterday. Tonight on, we've got Ryan, the usual, and a nice new face for us. Barry, welcome back, mate. It's been a long time since we've seen you. Obviously, we've caught up with you off camera, but it's nice to see you, mate. It's good to have you on again. And I'll let you kick off, mate, with the post-mortem, as we say, to the annihilation that we witnessed yesterday as a whole.
Thank you very much, JP. It is an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be back. Good to see you on screen again, Ryan. And don't you worry, guys. I have been supporting you from afar, watching the show, egging you on, and it's been great stuff as always. So, well, there we go. The game has came and went, and it was exactly what it says on the title here. It was an annihilation. That's not even our words. That's the words of Chris Boyd. He's tagging that an annihilation. And that's what it was. It was very similar to the game in February, where Van Bronckhorst himself, after the match, said his players looked shocked, they looked surprised. And how you can make the same mistake again, I don't know. But that's what happened. We ran over the top of them too fast, too much energy, too much different patterns, too many players popping up in different positions. It was an absolute joy to watch. And it's not just the result. That's entertainment. That is fans getting value for money. That is us watching a team that we can be proud of. And Rangers just did not have an answer. They had no plan B, C or D, because they just couldn't figure out what was happening to them. They looked like a deer in the headlights. They were just shocked. I'm sure we're going to talk about individuals as the show goes on, but in terms of performance, in terms of overrunning a team in a match of that size, it was one-sided, and it was a complete annihilation.
Aye, good assessment there, Barry. I think that's fair, to be honest with you, mate. It's funny that Barry says, Ryan, that they didn't have a plan B, C or D. Apparently, we've only got a fucking plan A. And Ange doesn't know how to detract away from that. I'm not being funny, but if that's your plan A, why the fuck would you want to detract away from it? Because our plan A is probably better than their plan A, B, C, D, E, F and G. So it begs the question, why come away with something as stupid as that in the first place? Why set yourself up for a massive fall? Now, you can look at the other side. Obviously, what Barry was saying there about his, fast tempo, everything else. We were on Friday night, Ryan, and we predicted this. We said what was going to happen. Myself, you, and Barry Bannon. We said that was going to happen. Everything that happened in the game, during the game, we highlighted that on Friday night. So, was Ange listening? Was he listening into the show on Friday? Probably no, but I'm only having a laugh there. But obviously, you look at the game, Ryan, it was like taking candy for veins. And like I said to you, mate, when I told you about Barisic and Tavernier, they can't keep Waynes out of close. When they are forced back the way, they don't know what to do. All of a sudden, they become numpties. No got a clue. Panic merchants. Want to play back the way all the time. Sometimes back the way the pass isn't there. And then obviously, we'll obviously talk about the goals individually. But the passages of play that we set up to play with them, the manipulation, it was just far too... The gulf between the two teams was there to see. But welcome on, Ryan. I know you're a wee bit under the weather tonight, mate. And obviously, that's why you're I'd imagine you've got that week off. I wasn't sure who was batting there. You were in the dug, actually, to be honest with you.
Oscar's about for a pee now, so he's all right, he's not here.
He'll be in a minute, but he'll be in a minute, give him the headphones and then you go for the toilet. And it's nice to see you, mate. I hope you've had a good weekend. Obviously, yesterday's probably going to have been the highlight of your weekend, but I hope it's been good for you, mate, since I spoke to you on Friday. And what was your overall thoughts for yesterday?
Like you says about Friday, me, you and Barry basically says everything that happened apart from, would it be Maeda or Abada? Apart from that, in my opinion, we tactically basically said the game, how Rangers would play, how we would play. They've no got the midfield to break through us. We said it Friday, and it was right. We stopped the wide men. I did think in the first half, 2 or 3 crosses, they did get in. I was like to the guy next to me, look, we need to stop these crosses because they will hit us. And I probably thought Cholak should probably scored, to be honest with you. A better striker, in my opinion, scores that. If that's Jackie Marcus, it's probably a goal. So we probably did get halfway that one, but it was a total... We've said on this podcast for weeks, especially pre-season, there is a gulf, but nobody wants to admit it. I think the real Rangers fans are realising now that they are 2 or 3 steps behind us now. They went a step ahead as we winning, obviously, that title, but for me, they're 2 or 3 steps back. Similar to us, I know I keep talking about that every podcast, but since the 10, that was where we went stale. They've gone stale now. They've went stale, in my opinion. They've no both players. They've let, like Barry says as well, but Calvin Bassey, you can see how much he actually meant to that squad and what he done, because their mistakes didn't get covered yesterday. Their mistakes were there to be fucking seen. Abada and Jota just, again, like Barry says on Friday, Jota tore Tavernier a new arsehole again. The rave about Tavernier being a phenomenal captain and whatever. Listen, the guy's obviously played European final, he's played so many games at that level, he's scored goals, penalties, we still need to put them away. But the guy's not a quality right back. Look at what he says. A right back's first duty a care is to defend. He can't defend. It's as simple as that. I don't care what anybody says. I'm all right for having opinions. People can have their opinions, I'll respect it. But I'm not saying I'm an expert, but for what I've seen for Rangers, since they've come back up here and he signs the right back, how many mistakes does he make? And they still sees this legend, and legends don't make mistakes every fucking game. It's every game against us, their defence is making mistakes. I did say to you as well that I still believe that 3-0 game in February has got a mental block on them. As soon as we get that first goal, JP, that was it. The game was finished, in my opinion. They shat the bed. They just went, toys at the pram, G with his Pepper Pig gun spokes in the bin, and he was gone.
Look at that, mate. The phrase water bottle of it yesterday. I managed to collect it for us so I could show everybody tonight. So, toys at the pram again yesterday, I think.
But I do believe we called it. We called how we would play. A game, if you want me to call it immediately now, or you can wait to later on. But I just think some of the things beforehand and then some things they're saying after, it just doesn't make sense. I'm like, you are getting paid to give your opinion. Your opinion might not always be right, but just be honest in what you're saying. If you think what you've said beforehand's honesty, you can't come out after the game and then say the opposite just because your teams get mulled. Let's be honest with you, because you're in a wee fucking sulk. So overall, mate, that victory, again, I didn't think it was going to be anything different. I did say 3-0 myself. I was very confident. I know people say these games forms at the wind and all that, but the way we are playing now and the way they're playing, we did say that Rangers fans would probably say, JP, that we were probably the best team they played this year. Probably right, we've not played anybody yet this year. But I know for a fact that that's the best team they've played. Because if we can play like that against Rangers, then PSV must have 2 fucking bad nights. But overall, mate, very good weekend, and I just think it's a massive statement, and I think it's a mental block as well, because again, it's only early days, but that performance, the fact that they're playing Ajax on Wednesday, if they don't get a result for that, then I think the G's under pressure big time.
Just as Ryan says that there, Barry, talk about early results. It is early in the season, we know that. Yesterday was always going to be met today about the bragging rights. It wasn't going to claim, in my opinion, right, they're going to win a title or they're going to win a title. But it certainly set a precedent for what might lie ahead in terms of forum, and it gives you a good indication of where the transfer window's just shut, and it gives a great indication as to where the two squads lie in terms of what they've done up to now, and obviously like where they're going to go from now. And I'm sorry to say, but as Ryan mentioned as well, Barry, the certain individual players now, these certain individual players played the game yesterday, well, the same certain individual players that played in February that made the same errors, the same mistakes. They're claiming about knowing the way Celtic play and how they set up, about the way they play quick free kicks and quick set pieces and this, but they still never done it in the Borough. You look at the second goal, for instance, Lundstrom, Kamara and Kent were all stunning with a thumb up their arse. And O'Reilly, McGregor plays the body O'Reilly plays the body Jota. And I'm not even, we'll talk about, as I said, we'll talk about the individual goals itself, but that goal itself was just that was breathtaking. That was just unbelievable. To even compute that in your head by taking that first touch, running onto that at full pelt, and then to try and execute what he done yesterday was just unbelievable. But getting back to what Ryan was saying about it's early in the season, so it definitely is going to dent psychologically already. 4-0. I mean, that's not even, oh lads, we were unlucky there. That's getting back into the dressing room and going, we get absolutely panties pulled down there and my bum severely spanked. I'd imagine instead of having a shower, they were all helping one another apply soda cream on their arses yesterday, because some of them would have had sore bums. Definitely. Come on. You cannot get, I know you're laughing, right? But you can't get beat like that and not have a sore arse. That's got to take its toll on you. So I know it's early in the season and we'll not get too carried away, but we also predicted what was going to happen yesterday. And it isn't a surprise to us, Barry, in terms of the way that result happened and the way your performance happened. Is it a surprise?
No surprise at all, mate. And yeah, it's early in the season, but in the SPL, a 5-point lead is a half-decent lead to have at any time in the season, because Celtic and Rangers too, when they're at it, don't lose a lot of games. And if you look at last season, it was actually the derbies that probably settled where the league went. So to have a 5-point lead this early is a really, really good place to put yourself. I mean, I don't being hypothetical here, but they're one defeat away in the league for us making that 8 points, which people would then be looking at and going, well, can they even come back to that? 8 points is a lot in Scotland. So I'm chuffed to have the 5-point lead this early. I'll tell you, talking about the psychological impact that Ryan's making there, if you look at, if we were looking at this game objectively before it, you'd be looking at two teams who were in good form, two teams who were coming into it confident, two teams that had the full squad of players to pick from. I know they lost Lawrence just before the game, but other than that, I think they're pretty much full strength. You can make an argument that that's their best 11. So you're coming in on form, you're coming in confident, you're coming in well prepared, and it looks as if it's a game, from an outsider's point of view, a neutral's point of view, it looks like a game that could go either way. Albeit maybe some neutrals would have said, well, Celtic had slight advantage being at home. So if you take all that into account, and they get absolutely leathered, they get absolutely put to the sword. So all things being even, they never had an answer, and it was a one-sided match. And right, JP, they're probably going into the dressing room, and they maybe not say it out loud, but you can rest assured there will be a handful of those players thinking, when they play like that, we can't get near them. there's nothing we can do to lay a glove on them. Because they've now had, last season at Parkhead, we've done the exact same thing to them. And in hindsight now, if you look at the game, the only game, the game that we lost to them last year, the Cup, that went the full distance, extra time a lot, they're probably looking at that now and I'm thinking, that was probably more due to the fact that those players didn't have enough time to adjust themselves to the style of play that Ange is asking in terms of the energy that's required. I don't know about you guys, but for the first game this season, those players looked fitter to me. I'll tell you the one player that stood out mostly, Greg Taylor. I've seen that guy going from one end of the pitch to the other, from one end of the pitch to the other. I saw him pop him up in centre mid, right wing, back to left back, up the pitch putting crosses in, and he done it for the full match. So I think the frightening thing, if you're an opponent to Celtic this season, is the style of play that we play, it's going to be maintained for the full 90 plus minutes. And of course, our squad size is going to help with that. That we can bring these players in and they can and do exactly what the guys were doing before them. So I think Ryan's spot on. I think psychologically, this is a massive, massive dent in that Rangers squad.
Aye, I would agree with you there, Barry, in terms of especially the way, like you say yourself, they'll go away and they'll have a look and an assessment of the game, and no doubt, I don't know if they'll sit down as a team, I don't even know, but the way it looked yesterday, they all didn't want to talk to one another walking off the park. So and you see photos in it, like yesterday, last night, the night, the day, the Cameron Carter-Vickers was out for dinner with Tillman and the boy Sands. But by the way, he's got more leaks on him in the granny suit. He is unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. To be playing at that sort of level, I can't believe a player like that's going to be playing the Champions League. That is frightening. Totally frightening. He wouldn't get a game of 5 or 6 with you. You play with 9, you wouldn't even phone him. You just go like that, no, but leave him alone. He's murder.
Phone JP instead.
Aye, phone me. I'm looking for a game. I've not played for the beginning of March before my accident. Nah, I'm only kidding. But no, in all seriousness, the boy just looks like a fish out of water. The people are saying that, talk about Sands, that's not his natural position. That's not, good players can adapt to any position.
Yep.
You're a pro and you're supposed to be playing at a big club who's going to be in the Champions League. That's the next thing. If you're a decent player, you'll adapt to a position. Chris Sutton was able to do it. Played striker all his days. When he was required under Martin O'Neill put him at centre half. He never looked out of place. He was unbelievable. I even seen him playing centre mid. I think one of the games, just because of injury and Jamie Smith was injured, he played at right wing back for us, just to help us out. So if you're a good player, you can play anywhere. Don't tell that to Alec Ray, by the way, because he'll probably not believe you. He doesn't believe it. You're versatile in more than one position. Although he thought Sands could play more than one position, but Rio Tati was full of shite about where he could play. That was a laugh as well when he came away with that. That was quite funny. But just as you said there, Barry, as early in the season, but what a start! I mean, you would be going into the dressing room if you're earlier going like that. Jesus, Johnny, that mob are on another level.
Yeah,
because they are. I mean, that. And see, in my opinion, I think we can play better. I actually didn't think we were at full pelt yesterday, and I think a lot of that, and I mentioned it last night to a guy on Facebook, is because Kyogo came off. When you've got Giacomakis, who is absolutely unbelievable, but he's a different type of player for Kyogo. He doesn't give you that press for the front. He'll try and press, but he's not as mobile and as agile as Kyogo was. So he doesn't cover the ground as fast. So when he came on, Celtic had to turn to a mid-press because we had to drop to allow them to have the ball. But it was the same again as the second half performance in February. we let them have the ball in their own half. When they got to the halfway line, they get closed in. The ball got took off them, and the ball was turned there. And then I thought we were quite wasteful in a lot of our passages of play as well. We were either overplaying or we were underplaying, or sometimes we were getting the ball away. Boys were passing the ball when they shouldn't, and holding on to it when they shouldn't. So I thought in front of goal, we were a wee bit wasteful in certain stages of the game yesterday as well. But to have still played well enough to win 4-0 against the team for the other side of the city, in my opinion, guys, that is phenomenal. Because they're me sitting here saying, I didn't think we were at full pelt. I think we can play better. And that's obviously my next point to you, Ryan. Do you think we can play better? And how did overall, what would you say, was there anything, is it just me? Maybe it is just me, maybe I'm talking at my backside, I don't know. But I just found that, although we did play some lovely football, I thought at times we were a wee bit wasteful with some of it. I don't know what you think, Ryan, but obviously that everybody has opinions. But in my opinion, I just thought we could have still played a wee bit better. And that's fucking scary considering, obviously, as I said, the result.
I thought the second half had dropped off a bit, but I think that's I think it's because it wouldn't have done in the first half. I think it kind of is only natural, maybe, to step in your mind. I know it was hard to do that for 90 minutes, but I think they did kind of drop half a wee bit in the second half. That's no because they weren't trying hard the same.
No.
I thought Rangers did come into a wee bit in the second half because obviously they had to try and get a goal, but it just shows you the squad that if they're trying to get a goal and they're bringing on Scott Wright. Again, I'm not going to sit here and I try my best to not slaughter professional because I'm not a professional, but I can only see what I see on the park. And I know we signed Christie for Aberdeen, but Ryan Christie was not sorry for Inverness and he went to Aberdeen, came back, but guys like Ayer went to Kilmarnock, was a standout. Christie went to Aberdeen, he was a standout, he came back and they came back brilliantly. Scott Wright was a decent player for Aberdeen, he wasn't explosive and fucking get man in matches every week, and Rangers signed him because I think he was roughly a free transfer or very minimum fee. You've got Ruth injured, you've got Morelos again. I'll keep mentioning it. If that's Lee Griffiths is getting fucking back newspapers. He's eating too many of this, he's no professional. Coming on like that, within a week, his attitude, within 10 days, his attitude's changed. Gerrard couldn't change his attitude. I think, was it under Warburton as well? Everybody he's managed at Rangers.
It was Warburton, was it not?
It was Caixinha.
Was it
Caixinha?
It was Caixinha.
So he said Caixinha, Warburton, Murty, and I think Giovanni and Gerrard. And he's no done anything different. He's a goal scorer, let's be fair, he is, but he's no fit. And the fact Lee Griffiths, in my opinion, he's getting lambasted. I just think overall we probably could have played better in the second half, but it's very hard to be critical on it. It is hard after that performance, but you just want to try and dissect the game, and you just want to improve every week. You want to get better. And I know you're happy with 4-0, but I believe that was 4-0 going 8-0 again. That was just they had one chance really, and that was a Kolak's header. In my opinion, they scored it. But I just feel that everything we said on Friday happened. We knew they were going to play like that. We knew Rangers were going to play like that. Even the manager knew Celtic would play like that. So surely you would line up your team all week to play like that. But we spoke after the game, JP. The fact they played 3 defensive midfielders tells you his attitude towards the game. It was just don't get fucked. That's what it was. It was. You're not going to listen. It might go and do well in the Champions League, but again, it might be critical. It might be hard on him. I did say it on Friday. James Sands is more like quicksand when he's fucking playing. He's no good. He's no good enough. He's no good enough. And they've signed Ben Davis, who's injured. Hardly kicked a ball. £4 million. Jesus Christ! Panic buy. The guy, the left back, who I actually thought was decent for Besiktas when I watched him. I think it looks too lightweight. I'll give the boy Tillman his due. He looks very good. He's bought his feet, but I think fitness-wise, etc., I think he's well off his level still. I just think for me, if again we've all played football, they've played in big games, Scottish Cups, derbies, etc., etc. See if Tavernier or whoever's no guys with a fucking neck, like you need your fucking grip. You just need to wake up. Then there's something wrong with that club.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for a fact if I was playing, there'd be a fucking investigation after that game because that was they tried, but I generally thought after like 2 or 3 nothing, they kind of gave up the ghost. It was just like, oh, the game's done. And I think as well, I seen a clip with Van Bronckhorst. Might have been for Jota's goal. He was pointing in the middle of the park to O'Reilly. He was telling the 2 midfielders, get him. They left him, and he's like, get off his nutside the park, Celtic go and score. So
he fell off his rocking horse, didn't he?
So
he was angry.
I just think I'm kind of glad in a way that Rangers fans are actually realising now. Just because you go to European final, that's done. You need to focus on this. Just because you beat Dortmund last year does mean that you're a fucking brilliant team this year now. Last season's done. Brilliant, you go to a final, it's done. You need to focus on your team now. It's the same with us. What we done last year, it's done. It's what we do now. It's what we done with Rodgers and Stratton. That's done in the past. We've loved it. But you move on to the future. So I just think I do agree with everything you've said, and it's going to. We have no, again, what I highlighted, 38 games unbeaten, conceded 19 goals, JP, but yet your defence is very shaky and not very good. Tell me about that, man. I don't know how the maths work with that.
No, and it's the same old with the media, mate. They just they say first without thinking. Like I said before, mate, half the shite they talk isn't true, and the other half's hard to believe. So it's it's really, really difficult to grasp. But just as Ryan says there, Barry, touching on recruitment, I think the recruitment's been second to none, and you can see that over the last 3 transfer windows. I think it's pretty evident that Ange has bought for the here and now, and he's bought to come into the team and make a difference. We spoke previously, I think even when you were on before, Barry, we spoke about this. There's no project signings whatsoever in our team now. There's none of this, like, and again, I don't want to slag a guy, but I'm talking about just as a for instance, there's no really a Patrick Klamala coming into the team and then he's playing maybe 20 minutes, then you're not seeing him for 6 months. There's none of that happening now. The guys that he brought in are all in and have all made a difference. And that's pretty unheard of in a way. That they've come in and they've all hit the ground running, and they've all like added to the success we had last season in terms of winning the domestic double. And so far this season, as you said yourself there, Barry, they've took it up a notch. So they've went to a different level in terms of fitness. But I think last season we were all kind of moaning about them dying out the game and everything else. You got to look at the Kyogo and Daisen Maeda and Hatate. They had played fucking a year and a bit of football and came over, not really a long break, and just had to hit the ground running with us straight away. And then Kyogo had a lengthy layoff with a hamstring injury. That sort of hindered him a wee bit. Otherwise, by the way, I wouldn't have liked to see what the goal charts would have been like at the end of the season, should he not have been injured. Same with Giakoumakis, because he was kind of in and out with wee daft injuries here and there as well. One long term and then one that just kept him in and out with a wee niggle. But I think last season, at the start of the season, obviously Ange didn't have a big enough squad. He was trying to get bodies in fast. He was having to rely on guys like David Turnbull and Callum McGregor playing almost every single game. Starfelt never really got much time to bed in. He got flung straight in at Tynecastle. Pretty much Abada had to get flung in and all because we had injuries. Ralston, Juranovic got injured. Then Greg Taylor got injured. Juranovic then got shipped out to left back. So we had to deal with our own problems last season. But the difference is one thing I noticed, and I've noticed through the whole time he's been here, Ange has not made one excuse. He's not made one, poor me, playing the poor me card, nothing. Yeah. He's just got on with it. He's just, no, do you know what? We'll go away, we'll work, blah, blah, blah. And he's had all these people laughing at him and making up stupid shit in the media asking him silly questions. He got beat by Midtjylland last season. The guy says to him, "Is it a catastrophe? Is it this? Is it that?" He was asked silly things. Do you feel sorry for Robbie Nielsen at Celtic Park? Why do I feel sorry for Robbie Nielsen? Oh, because he feels aggrieved that he thinks Kyogo was offside. Why the fuck am I going to feel sorry for Robbie Nielsen? He's like, if he thinks the referee determined so, like I says with Ange, he doesn't make any excuses. He has analysis of the game. It's his analysis, and I don't really think he gives two fucks, to be honest, about anybody else's, what their thoughts are. And I seen a recent one with him there about him. There's folk still doubting him. And it just totally, it's beyond me. And that's what he says. Maybe if I was Spanish or Dutch or German or, people would understand a wee bit more. But because I'm no, and I've came from the other side of the world. And so, in terms of recruitment, mate, and you said yourself about fitness, is it a case of we've recruited that well, they really haven't, and we have just worked really hard on the training ground, we've upped our fitness as a collective, and I don't know what they've done in pre-season, to be honest. I think they played Sunderland in the stadium with a blackout and they couldn't fulfil the game then, and but I honestly don't know, because the two teams are getting into the Champions League. One team looks really ready, the other team looks as if they're ready to, I don't know, start greeting. What do you think, mate? Barry?
I think Ryan made some good points as well in regards to the way Rangers set up. And I listened to Van Bronckhorst before the match. I listened to wee snippets of his press conference just to try and sort of gauge what his mindset was coming into the game. And he spoke about getting a result. If you go back to his press conferences, two different ones, and he used the word result. So he didn't speak about getting the win, he spoke about getting a result. So already before the lineups came out before the match, I had a suspicion that it was going to be quite defensive, which surprised me, because if you go back to the game in February, that was his approach then. He tried to sort of sit in. He could tell he wanted to soak up pressure, as on the counter-attack. I think it was naive of him to get into this match defensive-minded, because if he was going to concede the ball to us and let us get into a rhythm, I mean, somebody would say that, I think on Sky, if you let the Celtic team get into a rhythm, you're going to get punished, because as soon as they start playing those triangles, patterns of play, the movements that we want to create, getting our forward players into, you're in bother. So I think he's got a lot to look at himself for in regards to that. And and talking about Morelos, did anybody see the sweat lashing off him? I looked at him after about 5 minutes on the pitch, and there was buckets of sweat coming off him.
No, I saw it just as you saw his number going up the board and he was going on.
Aye, that too. No, he'd got a towel and then came on the pitch.
Oh, right.
No, that guy's no fit. And he, with all due respect to Lee Griffiths, who was a fantastic servant to us at one time and a tremendous player, he became a problem as time went on. He gave chances and it just became a problem, because you've got a guy like that with that ability, that talent, and he can't get near the team for whatever reasons off the pitch. Morelos, I think them keeping a hold of him, I think it's a mistake. I think they should have cut our losses, go what they could have got on him and get him out the door. But anyway, sticking to us, JP, Ryan, we spoke about it many times on the podcast before. The recruitment at Celtic has been nothing short of miraculous. It has been a Houdini. For him to have brought in, for Ange to have brought in so many players who are at the level that they're playing at. I looked at the starting 11 yesterday, and there was 9 players. It was only Taylor and McGregor in the starting 11 who were there when Ange came in. And even if you look at the substitutes, 5 substitutes, only Turnbull, I believe, came on for the bench. Sorry?
Oh, sorry, mate. I thought you were going to say only Turnbull was there for the beginning.
Only Turnbull who was already there. So you're looking at 3 players from 16 who contributed to that victory, who were there when Ange came in. Only 3. And that's, as you say, JP, that's only in 3 transfer windows.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Where else would you be able to go across Europe and look at a manager who has came in, and by the way, this is a manager who came in when we were in disarray. Our club, our fans, the connection between the club and the fans,
yep,
the personnel that we had, the squad that we had, and he has completely transformed the way we play for a start, and the players that have come in. And do you know something? He brought in players that Celtic fans want to see. We want to watch the Jotas. We want to watch the Hatatis, the Abadas. This new boy, Haksabanovic, looks in the same ilk. Kyogo. These guys are the people that we wake up match day, rubbing our hands, looking forward to seeing them and watching them in action. And by God, they did not disappoint. Yesterday, some of the touches, the Jota, the one incident where Tavernier's chasing him about, he's just can't get near him, and I think he beat him twice before he decided to pass the ball away, give the guy a break. Professional courtesy, I think it was. He thought, no, this guy's taking that beating.
That the one he fouled him.
He
threw the back of him, didn't he?
Threw the back of him, aye. And do you know something? He's alright. Ryan said it previously anyway. The guy cannot defend. He cannot go back away. His positional play as a right back is horrendous. He's almost always too far up the pitch and gets caught out. But I don't know about you guys, but I think that the biggest success that Ange has had, the biggest impact he's had on the team, personnel, that's been vital, but it's actually the fact that he's got a very systematic way of playing that clearly they can work on every day on the training pitch and then transfer it on a match day. Because you see that, you see a team that's well drilled, people know where they should be, and that's offensively and defensively. Because, as you two have rightly mentioned, our defence and our defending as a team is second to none. You know, we don't concede many goals. We didn't look like conceding yesterday. The Cholak effort is the one that stands out. But other than that, they've never troubled us. They didn't look like opening the door. There was no moment in the game when you felt on edge. You felt as though they could cause us problems. So, yeah, personnel, the recruitment, absolutely unbelievable. But I think it's the fact that we've got a very, very clear identity that the manager's not going to tinker with. It's set in place, and as you said, JP, we've got a plan A, and we don't need any other plans because our plan A is shit hot.
No, you're damn to it now, mate. You're spot on. I just think that you look at both clubs and you see, you know, they got to the Europa League final last season and they lost the game. But see, talking to their fans, they think they won that last. I think some of them think that they walked away with that trophy last season. Their mindset is unbelievable.
The only trophy
the way they came away with it, you know, they still talk about it. But we got to Seville, so did we, but we get beat.
The only trophy they've got is drinking water out of fucking toilets.
Well, that's it. The toilet drinkers. I heard we put some nice refreshments inside and we bit of the golden duck or whatever it's called inside the toilets for them yesterday. It was only 800 of them, so surely they all got a drink. I hope they did anyway. But Barry, you're talking about they didn't look to open the door. They did. They looked to open the fire exit door and get into. I think some of them wanted to do a runner. I think what was brilliant yesterday and all lads was we scored that fourth goal during the domination. That was unbelievable. The fans were, the atmosphere, being involved with that yesterday was just phenomenal. The atmosphere was superb. And I thought what was excellent was Borna Barisic was there at my side. And he was getting real, guys are lying to me. In fact, it was just in front of where my dad actually sits. And he was getting torn apart. He was getting, not just torn apart, but he was getting torn apart half apart as well. But he was getting ripped to pieces and he was getting abused, but he reacted. He turned round and he was sort of like that, as if trying to engage with the guy. As if, what did you say? The guy said something back to him and he just laughed. But everybody's storming down the domination thing. And then Turnbull scores, but he's facing the Celtic fans. And everybody just started laughing at him in unison. And it was absolutely, and then he turned around and he was just shaking his head as if to say, oh no. And it was one of the, it was just, you had to have seen it. I don't even think Sky would have maybe even caught that on the camera, because if he did, some of that would have been all our social media today, or yesterday, or last night, or whatever. But see, actually witnessing that firsthand, I nearly fell into the aisle laughing, because it was one of the ones he went to try to have a bit of banter with the guy. And I'll give him his due, he didn't react as in he was reacting, wanting to like fight with the guy, or he just tried to have a bit of banter with the guy. But it was when everybody started laughing at him when we scored and everybody went mental, you just seen a look in his face. It was oh no. It was fucking hell. Here we go again. And it was just the look, the colour drained from his face. He nearly sat down and done a sight again the way he did the game in February when Abada scored, remember? When he sat down and done the toilet in the middle of the park. Or he emptied his, I don't know if he emptied his fucking his incontinent pads or whatever he was doing. He was doing something anyway. He shouldn't have. Why did you sit down in mid-game? See, that I don't understand as well. But that brings me back to that point of it's the same guys that are making the same errors. Now, he knows Abada's running that. He must know Abada's running patterns. He still couldn't stop it yesterday. Atati played a ball yesterday where he wasn't even looking. He was looking at Jota and he switched it round the corner, right out of the wing to Abada. But it went right at the top of Barisic. You see, it was perfect weighted, perfect time. And again, Barisic, he's another one, Ryan, you were talking about Tavernier, no knowing when to stone. And Barry, you mentioned it there, I know, about him getting caught out of position. Barisic is the exact same, except he's left footed.
Yeah.
He runs forward, looking for an overlap with Kent. Kent, you're better with Clark Kent. What is that all about, man? He's running into people, looking for fouls when he's running with the ball. He tried to run with the ball. He went to run and just stopped. The ball was there and he ran away from the ball. And it was Juranovic that just ran in and took the ball away. And people are actually thinking that Ryan Kent's better than Jota. People have actually said live on a camera that Ryan Kent's better than Jota. I wouldn't even give Ryan Kent a game on Shibuya. He's absolutely murder. Murder. Ryan Kent is sponsored by Taggart because there's been a fucking murder. Jessica Fletcher's only bought me Solly's shoe, by the way. Murder hero, I'm telling you. Because he is absolutely honking.
Don't make me laugh, man.
No, seriously, Ryan, he is absolutely honking. I do not get the hype with that guy at all. I really don't.
2 goals in 50 games.
And about 400 steppers and he goes nowhere. 2 goals in 50 games. He's not scored since March, Barry. If he played that Red Star, is it Red Star? No. Is it? Red Star Belgrade? No.
I don't know. I just know it's March, but see if you're big on stats.
I think it's Red Star Belgrade.
If you're big on stats, how the fuck can you say that he's good enough? He's assisting goal record. People say he does well in Europe, but so you buy a player just to play in Europe? Come on, man. You're paying that money. A guy at that value, they say with £7 million, that's probably all instalments. Mm-hmm. I just believe, like you say, JP, I put it in Twitter today. can we please put this farcical debate about there's not a debate about it. Jota, I actually seen a guy today, I don't know what it was, if it was my old man told me. A guy says, would it surprise you if Jota got a call up to Portugal if he keeps playing well? Would it fuck?
No.
Would it fuck if he keeps playing well in the Champions League? But I just thought I'd say that, mate. Sorry to cut you off here, but I just can't believe that we're Celtic fans. But take away your Celtic specs and just look at football as a neutral fan. Look at the stats, look at everything. How can you say Ryan Kent is anywhere near Jota? How? I can't fathom how you can come to that conclusion. Honestly, it's like I say to you today. It's like buying a player and going, right, you'll be good certain games. It's like buying a player set the fans. Right, we're paying, what's it, Julian? Paying £9 for us, boy. £7 million for this guy. We'll try and get 10 good games out of my season. Can't I do that, man? Fucking, it's just like you say, but people are actually canute and saying that people have get paid to have a platform, BBC, Sky Sports, whatever you name it, what platform, and they're actually saying it. So to me, losing your credibility. But Chris Boyd, right, very good goal scorer, good play for Rangers, Commander, etc., done well. But as a pundit, I don't care if you're a Rangers fan, saying stuff like Barrella's the best, but come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just please look for your professional mindset? There's about fucking 11 players in that Celtic squad that's better than Morelos.
This is the same guy that says Aaron Ramsey was the best thing to happen to Scottish football since Gaza. He's getting paid to say this. It's unbelievable. But that brings me on to my next point, lads. Talk about the media and pundits, etc. A certain Barry Ferguson had mentioned about Giovanni van Bronckhorst has sussed Big Ange's tactics. Well, that was evident yesterday. I think that statement is very, very well. I'll put this to you, Barry. Why would you... Now, the guy's got 1 point out of 9. Was that up until yesterday, Ryan? You know the stats, mate?
He's at 12 now. 1 out of 12.
There you go. So
he's not got one victory against Ange because the semi-final was a draw. So he's not got a victory.
There's a reason why I called you Andy Gray, mate. You know your stats, you know your stuff. And it's right half-hand, I know you don't even need any technology to tell you that. You've got it all there.
Mr. Stato, mate.
That's why the two Rory's always work, mate. You know what I mean? You always the other one.
I may be no well, but I've got a brain.
Might be no well, your brain's still ticking.
Aye. Pick my fucking left knee doesn't work better.
But no, Barry, if you're in the media and you're getting paid good money in your own radio stations and your own this and your own that, why would you make such a ridiculous comment that are you doing it for bites? Are you doing it to get people to phone into your show, write into your column, comment on your blogs, whatever you do? Because it is beyond me why you would make such a statement. Because his statement aged very well yesterday. To say that Gio has sussed Ange and his tactics, and that Ange has only really got a plan A, whereas Gio has much more up his sleeve. I'm not being funny. If Gio's got much more up his sleeve, I think he better start going to it, because yesterday certainly wasn't good enough. And if that is the best they've got, and by the way, they never signed them in the transfer window, so they're left with that squad to January at least before being able to do it. Now, they weren't allowed to add to it in the summer window when they've just been good Champions League money. They get money for Big Shirley, and what was the other big fella's name that went to England? Aribo. I nearly turned into a cowboy there, Aribo. Whatever his name is.
Arriba.
I know. You've done that before, haven't you? You've practiced that. That's every Saturday night hanging in front of the mirror for you, innit?
Oh, aye.
You've got your sombrero and your
Yeah, listen, don't tell the full fucking media my fucking role play
Next
shit.
year we calling us Gringo.
Well, we're at the next podcast. We're at the next podcast, right? The new fake mustache.
This is where I'm single one. Fucking nobody's
Maybe a big Freddy Tash. I want to break free.
The badge.
No, as I say, Barry, if you're in the media and you're doing all that and you get paid good money, why would you come out with such a ridiculous statement? Why would you? Because everybody that knows football knows that that's a lot of shit. So just why would you do it?
Well, I've watched Barry Ferguson at times on Go Radio, and to his credit, he's normally pretty fair. He's normally.
I like him, Barry. I know he's a rage, but he's very honest and he's good.
Yes. Yes, and you know he generally keeps his cool when it comes to talking about Celtic and Rangers. You know, he doesn't get too high when Rangers are doing okay, and he doesn't stick the boot in when Celtic are having a tough time.
He was definitely high making that statement, I'll tell you.
Well, that's my point. That's my point, because when I seen it, I was pretty shocked. I was pretty shocked that was his analysis, that was his observation, because it was a big deviation from what I'm used to listening to him. As I said, you know, normally he's pretty reasonable in his assessment. So that was my initial reaction when I saw his comments. I was just shocked that it'd come to him. And then I thought, well, what is he basing it on? Is he basing it on the fact that Rangers' last two games against us prior to yesterday was the cup game, which they get over the line eventually, and then a draw at Parkhead? So where is Van Bronckhorst for it sussed? If he's making those observations, these guys are saying, right, these are meant to be professionals, getting well paid for their analysis, getting well paid for their observations. Where is he getting that to? It isn't based on any facts, is what I'm trying to say. It's a pretty wild assessment to make. And look at him now. I mean, he's got egg in his face now, isn't he? Because if that's Gio got it sussed, then good on you, Gio. Hope you stay that way. Keep it sussed, mate, because clearly he's not getting anything sussed. And as I said in my previous comments, I think he came into the game very naive. To play with such a defensive setup was naive, because you can't come and play Celtic at Parkhead and sit back. You just can't do that. And somebody had said it to me today, one of my pals, we were talking about the game. In fact, it was our mutual friend, it's Big Jason, that had said that. He was saying that Ange and the way we play we've got a team in a setup that can break through teams that are playing with a low block, or teams that come to park the bus, or teams that come to defend. In the past, I've watched Celtic teams struggle against that kind of opposition because we've just not quite had the creativity or those kind of patterns of play to open teams up. And the longer the game goes on, the more difficult it can get. But I don't see that with a Celtic team. It's because it's so fluid and it's so dynamic, and because of the ammunition we've got on the bench, there isn't a doubt that if a team sits off against us, we'll unlock the door. And one thing that we are is we're great front runners. Once we get ahead, we're a very difficult team to stop, because we're going to continue to play the same way. So the comments to Barry Ferguson, as I said, I was very, very surprised. He's not a pundit that I would have expected that kind of stuff. If it was Chris Boyd saying it, I would have expected it. And I just brushed that aside as being Chris Boyd, because I just don't value his opinion at all. I'll endorse what Ryan said. The guy had a good playing career. But this has got nothing to do with him being a ex-Rangers player or fan here. His football analysis is absolutely shocking. So other than his analysis at the weekend there, it was a Celtic annihilation. I can agree with him with that. But I think Barry Ferguson's probably going to be regretting those comments. I hope that he gets plenty of opportunity to hear for the Celtic fans on his radio show that he's on, and I hope he gets it in both years. But you know something, knowing what I've watched him in the past, I think he'll probably just take it on the chin. Hopefully it'll stop him to make stupid comments like that in the future though.
Well, I actually had Go Radio on yesterday after the game, the way home, and he was on it with Big John Hartson, and he was really struggling. I think he had a couple of clean-ups under his nose, and he was really struggling. I actually heard a wee bit of distortedness happening in the mic. I actually thought it might have been Big Hartson giving him a cuddle, because I thought, right, he's struggling here, you know what I mean? And then when I seen the video back today, I think it was because he didn't have his Broxy Bear teddy bear beside him, mate. I actually think that may be why he was struggling. He just didn't have that sort of home comfort. Because obviously, you know, it's like a religion to them, you know, like they've got to cuddle it so many times a day and stuff, and they've got their own wee rituals, and unfortunately that wasn't with him. So, but as I say, I think Big John sorted him. I think he gave him a cuddle and sort of kind of helped him a wee bit get himself together to be able to talk to the nation again. But no, he was really disappointed. He was angry, which is a surprise because he's normally angry. But he was angry. He wasn't really saying too much about the way we played. It took a bit of prompting for Big John. He was more talking about the goals they lost, but not talking about how the goals they lost came from how well Celtic played. Nothing to do with. He's saying the goals were all preventable. They could have been prevented, each goal. He's talked about the switching off of Kamara, Lundstrom, and that other guy. Ryan Kent. Switching off for Jota's goal. And he says that was quite poor. And I think that's what you alluded to earlier, Ryan, in terms of Gio screaming and pointing. And I just thought he was telling Roy Mackay to get to the kiosk because it was shutting in 20 minutes or something, mate. You know what I mean? I actually thought that's what he was doing. I didn't know. Obviously, then you felt was in the night about that he was upset about that day 3 switching off. But no, as I said, the overall view for that, Barry, in terms of Ferguson, was he wasn't really wanting to give Celtic much credit. He was kind of wanting to, that's what I thought, he was kind of wanting to put it all down to, it was Rangers' fault that happened, or it was this, that happened, it was their fault that happened. And I thought, that's a wee bit, anyway, why not just say, look, that mob were superb, which we were in spells. Obviously, I still think we can play better, and that's scary. But as I said, we played well enough to take care of that game yesterday. And the fact that, but then came in Big Hartson, and he just totally right at the top of him, kind of like, no. He's pointing out to him, the reason that happened is because Celtic played so well. Celtic were devastating there. Celtic done this, Celtic done that. But Big John also said, I actually think this Celtic team are capable of playing better. Mm-hmm. So, overall, it's a ridiculous thing to say, first and foremost. And as you said yourself, Barry, Chris Boyd, you would expect that for him, because he just comes away with stuff like that all the time. It's a common theme with him. I mean, that thing about Aaron Ramsey being the best and Skaza and all that as well, it just snowballs for there, and you could go on, and you could probably do a podcast just about Chris Boyd, mate, because he talks that much shit, mate, that you just, it's just like, we've got a live one here, know what I mean? It's one of the ones. But Ryan, just to go, mate, obviously, looking at Ferguson's comments, mate, and as we've touched on, is it not just totally baffling, mate, as to why, as Barry says, where's his evidence, where's his But how can he justify the comments? And that's not the only thing, mate. Me and you were talking about this before. Kenny Miller had his wee bit and all, and then and he's quickly changed his tune now to all that was expected. A couple of days ago, you were saying that Rangers had the better days, and they were the better team the last couple of derby games. But then that result happens, and was it the day he said it, Ryan, or yesterday? That was expected.
Aye, on Ferguson, mate. Again, I'm with Barry. I did think people might say he wasn't. I thought he probably could have been borderline near, I'm not going to say world class, but he was very, very good. So, probably similar to Scott Brown. If he was in your team, you'd have fucking loved him. You know what I mean? When he played, that was when Scottish football was booming. That was in the midfields or battles, and the derbies were really good to watch. Again, I'm with Barry. I think his opinions that's normally all right on open goal and that, and normally he's like Celtic were brilliant, but I generally just believe he's maybe hurting a wee bit, and he was just couldn't be honest, which I can understand that. But before that, when he says he was sussed, I was just like you say, I'm all for guys having an opinion, but it's like I've always said to myself and you and everybody else, if you're going to write something on social media or say something on a platform, you need to back it up with a fact, or you need to know what you're talking about, because if you don't, you're going to get shut down. You're going to get absolutely gunned down with somebody. Somebody will retweet it or somebody will say something, and all you've seen now on Twitter is photos of Ferguson saying that. And I'm not going to say it's got to take away his credibility, because he's still a good pundit in my opinion, what he says. But part of you, do you really want to listen to what he's going to say now? Me, don't lie, I'm not lie. If he was on open goal that, I'd listen to him. He talks about football and management. He's very good. But only Kenny Miller. You wouldn't think. I know he's. I don't know if he's a Hibs fan. Is he a Hibs fan, Miller? Well, he says he was. Is that true? Is that true, Barry? Is he?
You asking me or telling me?
No, I'm asking. Is he a Hibs fan?
Kenny Miller doesn't know what team he supports, mate.
I don't think Kenny Miller does. He sits on about 3 fences.
So I don't know if he is a Hibs fan. I don't know if that's me just making stuff up. But he's played with Celtic and Rangers. So how can you? If you weren't a fan, I don't know if he was a fan. If he was a fan of Rangers, fair enough. He'll support him first, right?
He still appears on their TV programmes, and he still appears whenever they're on BT games, and he followed them all the way up to Seville and stuff.
So you wouldn't believe that he played with Celtic. Surely he was on open goal, Bar. I don't know if you've watched the episode. Again, open goals to be a wee bit better for me now. Some of the gear signaling's good, and the documentary, I must admit, the day was really good watching about Broomhill. He says that the last 3 games at Rangers, he thought Rangers get the better of Celtic. Where there, you do the semi-final, and both teams, let's be fair, both teams were shite. Both teams were tired. I know they played a game 2 or 3 days beforehand. Celtic didn't turn up. They didn't turn up. If Carter Vickers scores that goal, the game is won. But they obviously scored the goal. James Forrest was fucking away with it. Couldn't catch Bassey, and they scored. And they probably deserved to win. We all know that, right? And we all took a medicine. But the game at Ibrox, he says that, Rangers were batting Celtic. So if you defend well, then that means you're not the best team. Celtic organised game management for probably in a long, long time, I would say, away from home, and they were under pressure. They got the goal, didn't panic. McGregor, like you said on Friday, JP, took the game with stuff in it, went and get the goal, boom, got the set before half time. The second half, the 20 minutes of that game, we weren't under the cosh, but we had a bit of pressure against us, but we dealt with it fine. There was no panic, they dealt with it fine. If you look at the stats, Rangers, who won the game, 9 times out of 10, the better team wins the game. And then the game at Celtic Park was annihilation. Again, that was total annihilation. So he started to say Rangers were the best team at Celtic Park, and 3-0. Because that was the 3 games, wasn't it? If I'm correct. The semi-final, the 1-1 draw, the semi-final, and then the game at Ibrox. Is that the 3 games?
Well, they beat us in the first game of the season last season, didn't they? They beat us at Ibrox, right. And Kyogo played out the left, Edward was there. They beat us 1-0, didn't they? No,
sorry, I said a lie. So it was the game at Ibrox 2-1, the one each draw at Celtic Park, and then the semi-final. Yeah. The game at Celtic Park, Celtic's been 4-0 up by half time again. We just missed sitters, and then obviously the second half, probably Joe Hartster saved that. It's probably hard to give him a bit of criticism, but Sakara's goal probably saved it. But how, and then he could come out after the game and say, it was coming. How does that make sense? You've just said that Rangers are doing okay, and they've basically been okay the last 3 from the Glasgow Derby. I never said that. And then he's coming after the game and saying it was coming. Make your mind up, man. It's because you're back to that and your teams get absolutely pumped and you're hurt and you can't face the media now because you need to face the media and say, oh, I go to it rang. Chris Boyd, I was at the game, I didn't see the aftermath, but I seen clips of it. He was wanting to laugh. He didn't want to sit and do analysis. That's comical. Again, that's disrespectful. You're paid. Doesn't matter if your team get 10-0 or you win 10-0. You sit and give your humble pie and you give your honest opinions. Celtic the season we lost the league, we were hopeless, but Hearts still came on, Petrov still came on, Donnelly, they all still give their honest opinions. Sutton slags Celtic when it was dire. Derek Johnson never slagged Harry McCoy because he's his mate. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter. See, like me, right? See if one of my pals plays with Celtic, which it's not going to happen. But if he did, I've got to give him a bit of, I'm not going to go full out and fucking dig their grave. But you've got to give him some sort. That's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're no paid for this, but as if I was had to say my opinion about, or he lost a goal there. Sorry if you're going to be pissed off me, mate, but you've got to do better as a fan. That's just the way you've got to be. And we spoke to Barry on Friday, and we all know the media up here gives no credit. It won 9-0, but Dundee were hopeless. Celtic won 4-0. Saw about Rangers been terrible. Honestly, right, I know we're Celtic fans, IP, but why do people just need to? It's like I'm saying, it's like there's an agenda against Celtic. Nobody wants to give credit. You've won 4 trebles, and you've won 4 trebles.
Mm-hmm.
And people say you shouldn't get annoyed the media. You're annoyed because your team is not getting the credit what they've done. They go to you. Everybody's just forgetting about what Ange done last year because they got to a final, they didn't win. Nobody.
They didn't win it. I says it earlier on. They're acting like they won it.
You remember
they didn't win that trophy. They won the same amount of European trophies as us last season.
We went to Seville. I was only 7 or 8, right? You remember the memories? It was a good trip. It was memories. But do you really hear Celtic fans talk about that every single day? Oh, Martin O'Neill's team, Seville. It's not every single. You might talk about it when you're talking about O'Neill, but it
only comes up in a memory, or it'll come up in a sort of. Like I think Alan Thompson had mentioned to us, Barry, that sorry, Ryan, the anniversary that's coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only time that would come up in a conversation. Like, it's not like we sit and talk about it every day. I know people probably, that mob across the lot, I probably think we do, right? But we don't. But in terms of it,
but they keep mentioning, sorry mate, they keep mentioning on the radio, guys phone in. I listen to Super Scolding on again, right? It's alright if you're just chilling in the house, not right? I bet they go to a final. Last season's done. That team's done. You need to look on what you. What? So because Real Madrid, they've won the Champions League last year, so you've got to go right. We're winning the. But you think because if they get beat, they're going they get beat off Celtic, but won that cup last year. No, because it's a new campaign, and the fans. Let's be fair, I'm not going to lie. See if we beat Real Madrid, Ancelotti's under pressure, but he's going to get hounded off the Spanish media. He will, because they expect to come here and win comfortably. I'm a Celtic fan. I'm confident we'll put up a performance. Well, no, it's good enough to beat the champions. I know they start off early sometimes, but they're still a quality team, and we need to be at the day game and hope that they drop off. But like you say, JP, how guys can go on a platform and I just don't know how you can just be honest. It's like during I know I keep mentioning it, but during the season we lost the league, we are very honest on here to our pals. Listen, we were hopeless. The board are all over the place. The manager's hopeless. He's got to go. It's over. We were very honest. Obviously, we still thought, right, if we get a new manager in October, we can maybe pull this back.
This is going to change. I know.
Right, but seeming like maybe go to after the buy, I thought, right, give up the ghost. We'll just tidy what we can, and we'll go to next season. But you keep living on the past. You've done brilliant to get to European final, but you've just been beat 4-0 off your rivals. But we go to a cup final. So you have to go to a cup final, but so because we get bumped off, if we get beat off of yous, we're going to mention, we won a treble 3 years ago. No, you focus on the new. And I keep saying this to you, JP. I've said it to Barry as well, guys in the chat. like Barry said, Greg Taylor's been superb. He has been superb. I was a big critic of him last year and the year before because I generally thought it was deserved. For what I seen for him, wasn't good enough. Same with Ralston, we all had opinion. But now, I would say he's able to step in and play. So I'm happy to go, Greg. I'm sorry. I've changed my mind on you slightly. I'm getting to saying you're very, 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 very good. But that's because of manager. If Ange was there, Greg Taylor wouldn't be a Celtic left back. If it was still Neil Lennon, he'd either be on the bench or he'd be away out loan or something because he was hopeless. No, I don't want to say hopeless, but he wasn't up to standard. And now I can go, right, he's playing amazing. He's got to be the left back until he gets injured and the Bellamy steps in. So you've got to focus on the new. You can't keep focusing on the past because if you do, you're not going to be successful, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you, mate. Just as Ryan said there, mate, he's wanting to chill out in the house and listen to Super Scoreboard. It just doesn't bode well, mate. It's going to either put you to sleep or boil your blood. I wouldn't be listening to Super Scoreboard on a day I wanted to chill out, that's for sure. Especially when you get Alec Gray coming away with stuff like that. He doesn't play more in one position, but Bobby James Sands was able to play 3 or 4 different positions and be comfortable in them. But he forgot that he's not a centre half.
See on Alex Shea as well. I marked a tweet I meant to put out, but I didn't. He put up in Celtic, he put a Europe last year. Oh, it's all went Pete Tong. It's all went Pete Tong now at Ibrox, isn't it? Fucking hell, man.
Aye. The big Goose is in trouble.
Just as well he's walking down south, he's not up here because he'd be getting lambasted.
Oh, definitely. We noticed as well he's kind of disappeared. He's not wanting to come on to the BT Sport night anymore or the Premier Sports. He's not wanting to join in any of the convo. There's no much happening for them now.
He's away hiding get a hair transplant in Turkey.
Aye. I think he's going to go to the same hairdresser as Barney Rubble.
Barney Rubble.
But no, touching on that, Barry, in terms of just the media overall, not giving us enough credit, no want to accept that right now we're top dogs. I don't know if you've seen it, Barry. I seen a wee clip, somebody sent me it, and it was Chris Sutton, and he was on the BT Sport score, like their version of Sky Sports News with Jeff and all that, and he's sitting on the couch, and one of the callers that call in had actually tweeted in. And the lassie that does it, she was presenting, I can't mind her name, lassie with dark hair. She reads out the thing, me, and Big Sutton, right away, he's sitting with his face all screwed up, and he's like, Celtic are just starting to dominate. He said, Celtic have dominated for over 20 years. He says, they've not just started to dominate. It was the same as at the beginning of the season, earlier on in the season there, when Hugh Keevan says, we'll play pass-a-parcel. Can you come away with that, Hugh? Pass-a-parcel. They've had one trophy, one title in the last 11 years. We've won 10 out of 11. And he's saying it's pass-a-parcel. And it was the same with Big Sutton yesterday, mate. He was saying about Celtic have dominated for over 20 years. In fact, Celtic have dominated when I went. He says Celtic have been the dominant force up there. He said, so he came away with something like that is absolutely ridiculous. But obviously, Big Sutton says it a bit similar to ourselves. Minus a couple of wee profanities here and there. But Big Sutton just says it as it is. He doesn't mince his words and he doesn't. And Robbie Savage pipes up and goes, I don't think they've been that dominant, Chris. And he does that, he turns around and he goes, as if to say, who the fuck's talking to you? Who asked you? What have you done? Because you used to be Man United's water boy. Shut up. But it was that kind of attitude, shrug off. But in terms of the media, mate, I totally agree with Ryan. We don't get any credit for what we do. We don't. It's always a constant battle, and maybe that's why we're seeing the day with Big Ange, the comments about if I was Dutch or Spanish or German or blah blah blah. Maybe that's his point And then obviously Big Ange made a point in saying it as well. The media got everything right last season apart from one. No, sorry, Big Ange won every award last season apart from one. Sacked before Christmas.
Yeah, I heard Big Sutton's comments, and is it a surprise? Is it a surprise that we are not getting more people, more experts focusing in on what's happening at our club at the moment? No, it's not a surprise at all.
Oh.
And if you think back to last season, I remember an interview with Tom Rogic, who's obviously no longer with the club. And Tom Rogic, he's a guy that you never heard from. He's always quiet. You would never know what's going on with that guy. And didn't do many interviews, but he done an interview last season, and even he felt the need to come out and defend us and say, well, it's been a decade now we've been on top. You know, because there's these people trying to push on a narrative that somehow, you know, there's a battle going on between the two clubs, or, you know, the parcel comments absolutely ridiculous. It's stupid. It really is stupid. I mean, if
always gives Ryan a wee chuckle, that comment, so it does.
You know what I mean, though? Because, again, Ryan, going back to these people are meant to begin observations and analysis based on facts, you know, and that's not an observation based on facts. It's idiotic. So, but what I love about Ange, a lot of things I love about Ange, he doesn't get involved in it. He just doesn't get involved in it. He swerves it. He doesn't entertain stupid questions. If you look at him now, the way he is to the media, and I'm sure you guys watch all his press conferences just like myself, he actually just needs to look at the person a certain way now, and they know to maybe load their question a bit differently or completely change it because he ain't happy with the question they're asking. And so I think he, as somebody who's right at the front, you know, leading the club, leading the conferences and whatnot, he's the right man to have in charge, because he just doesn't get involved in the stupidity of some of these people that are asking these questions. And, you know, you said it yourself, Jackie, he doesn't look for excuses, he doesn't look to blame, he doesn't even get too involved in what the opposition do. He's very respectful of the opposition, because he even mentioned in his post-match interview, Rangers are a good side. He said they've beaten some good sides as well. So he's respectful, but he doesn't pay much attention to all the outside noise and the hysteria and, quite frankly, the nonsense that's coming from certain parts. He's very focused on, as he says right for the off when he came to the club, actually, he's very focused on the things he can control. That's his focus. He's not interested in anything else that's going on. And actually, if you're looking at this, if you're a Rangers fan, or you're in the media and you support Rangers, and you're looking at Ange, you're looking at what he's doing on the park, and you're looking at how he carries himself as a guy off the park, and you saw some of his speeches that have been, we've had the privilege of seeing one or two of his speeches and stuff. Even some Rangers fans must be looking at it and going, they must be absolutely gutted, because we've got this guy who not a lot of people were aware of. People in the game knew who Ange Postecoglou was, because the guy who, in my opinion, is the best manager in the world at this moment, Pep Guardiola, he knew exactly who Ange Postecoglou was. So people in football knew who this guy was. But like, say, if you go back to the start of last season, the Rangers fans were rubbing their hands together, thinking, here we go. You know, we're about to press home our advantage here after winning their one trophy. They must be looking at it now absolutely sick. In the privacy of their own wee rooms or wherever they are, they must be going, I'm absolutely gutted that this guy's coming. He is a nightmare, because he's producing on the park, but look at the way he leads that club. everything's professional, everything's dignified. Look at the camaraderie in the squad. Look at the unity at the club. And it's just, if you were a Rangers fan looking at that, you'd be saying, we're in trouble here.
No, definitely, mate. Aye, we would. If you were in today with that club, you would be looking for afar, going, "Oh shit, this doesn't look like it's stopped many times soon." And I think what's really frightening, especially for Celtic fans, well, it's quite exciting for us, but in terms of the rest of the league, Ange still spoke, even just a couple of weeks ago there, that we're still very early on in transition. We're still very early on in a rebuild. We're still very early on in his plans and what he wants to accomplish. I think what was very fitting, lads, was yesterday. If you remember back to the mic'd up video that Ange done when he first took the job, and I think it was like his one or two first training sessions. And he, the whole "we never stop." We'll stop at half time. We'll stop at the end when we celebrate. The opposition wants to stop. That's fucking fine. We'll take advantage of it. I think we saw that yesterday with Jota's goal, the lead up to Jota's goal. I think we saw that yesterday to the first goal when Jota takes that first, initial speedy throw in. We saw at Tannadice, I think we were 5-0 up. Greg Taylor fucking sprinted to take a corner. Sprinted. That's just what we're getting after the team now. It's not just, nothing's laboured, nothing's I can't be bothered, we're going through emotions here. Everything's fucking let's go. And it's that kind of, it's just oozing that energy right through the team. By the way, see Celtic Park especially, if you watch Joe Hart when the ball goes out for a goal kick, he's right out of the ball, boys. He's like, right now, it's as if he's got a mod drilled on what's happening. The ball's back in and the ball's out. 90% of our goals right now are all, you look at the game in the cup final against the Hibs, the equaliser. We kicked half and it was like 1 or 2. Hibs won and Eddie. We kicked, they're too busy celebrating and trying to set back into their own positions. We kicked half, got a passes, bumped, 40 Kyogo, goal. That totally took the wind and sail right out of Hibs' team that day. And then you look at Rogic's quick free kick. They think they're making a sub. They've all switched off. Boom, we've capitalised on it. We're doing this more and more and more and more and more now. And for that video, I thought it was really fitting yesterday, especially, boys. When that ball goes out of play, or the ball gets stopped, sorry, and we take that quick free kick. That's exactly what Ange says. We never stop. If they want to stop, that's fine. But then see when we're playing now, you're seeing the other teams on the other side of it, he was saying in that mic'd up session and all. The opposition want a rest, will fucking take advantage of it. That's what's happening as well. Barry, you hit the nail on the head earlier on, mate, when you says that their fitness has went up a level. But I think their football fitness as a team has went up a level as well.
Big time.
Not just individually. Because to play in the triangles, to play in the way we manipulate teams and the way we can play around teams and play, as Ryan says, we've got a lot of firepower on this team, guys. A lot of answers, a lot of hurdles getting knocked down now because of the different assets that we've got in the team. And what he's flung together there, 3 transfer windows, has been nothing short of a miracle. And Barry, as you said, a lot of coaches all over the world knew who this guy was. We probably didn't. We were all distraught at the fact that Eddie Howe gave us a finger and said, no, he wasn't coming. Now it's a case of, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but now it's a case of fucking Eddie Howe. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at both the CVs of the managers, Ange is unbelievable. Ange totally dwarfs Eddie Howe's CV in terms of what he's done in the game. And in my opinion, guys, we have got an elite manager. Mm-hmm. The way you said yourself, Barry, he's a smooth operator the way he does on and off the park. He's mentioned it before as well. We don't look elephants to see what's going on elsewhere. We get our own house in order first. And then we start, then other people, he wants other people to be talking about us, not for us to be talking about other people. And that's what he says as well. And I just hope that we can make some sort of a great account of ourselves starting for Tuesday night as we assault this Champions League. It's been the first time in a wee while we've been in it. And but you can see the players are buzzing. You can see it in their performances. At the beginning there, we were in uncharted waters. We're used to Champions League qualifiers. We've had long breaks between games up until just this week here when we had to play Ross County on Wednesday. Before that, we had 7-8 days before we were playing. It felt like an eternity for us as fans, because you're going like that. We've not got a game next Sunday. We've not got a game next Saturday. So the uncharted waters is came because we've not had any Champions League qualifiers. There's been none of that air distraction. The players have had longer time off. Ange has probably had longer time off himself to get himself together, spend time with his family, and then get whatever plan he had in place to make an assault on the next season with the team. But I think one, and for me this doesn't get spoken about enough, I'm going to mention it here. I think one key element to Ange's change has been Harry Kewell. You've seen the videos yesterday when we scored our goals. Harry Kewell and John Kennedy looked as if they wanted to spoon one another. They were cuddling that much. I've got family who I love dearly. I don't think I've ever cuddled them that many times as what I saw Ray do cuddling one another yesterday. What's that, Barry?
I'll give you a big cuddle.
But I'm not, by the way, I wasn't talking for business or anything. I'm not looking for a cuddle now. Because I support the team. Right now, I'm not looking for cuddles, mate. There is certain people I can point you in the direction of who desperately need a cuddle right now. But unfortunately, it's not me. But no, just you talk about camaraderie and everything else. John Kennedy a couple of weeks ago was linked to the Midtjylland job. And it was, is he going to go? Is he going? He doesn't look like a guy that wants away. Or even had that in his mind. And then you see Gavin Strachan and you see the job he's doing with the defence and the work that, when they do the warm-ups, you see the work. It's all intensity. It's all like, it's really, really, really intense what he does with them. And you can see them all high-fiving and cuddling. And I don't know if Ange has brought all that, like, through the culture he's brought and like he's adapted. But they need to keep doing what they're doing, because I firmly believe it comes from the management and the coaching team, and the players feed off of that. They used to be in the warm-up as well. You've seen McGregor giving them instructions as well. And that's a great thing as well, in my opinion. He's like a go-between. I said this on Friday night. He's like a go-between between the Ange and the players. And when you get him on your side, it's a lot easier to... And right now, the team we played against yesterday don't look like that. You seen their warm-up yesterday. Some of them are there, some of them are there, some of them are there. They won the all together. So it's hardly surprising. You're seeing a team, and let's face it, I mean, some of the players have come out and questioned we lack hunger. We just don't have the mindset to come back for that. Well, that was evident yesterday. I want to touch on Real Madrid now, lads. I'm fed up talking about them now. I want to touch on Real Madrid now. What an opener. I'll put this one to you first, Ryan. What an opener. Welcome back to the Champions League, lads. Here you go. We're giving you the holders. So, deal with that. So, what's your overall thoughts? Obviously, again, as we approach Tuesday, mate, I know we're in a good place. I know they won last night. They won 2-1. But no, I think we're in a good place in terms of, getting into the game. And we know that Ange isn't going to he's not going to change his way. He's not going to back down, as we say. So it should be a mouth-watering experience for us.
It'll be a very, very good game to open up. Again, I'm a Celtic fan. I'm hoping we get a good performance, good result. But I'm all looking forward to seeing these guys play football. I've never seen Real Madrid play at Celtic Park, so it'll be a special night in terms of that as well. Seeing some of the players that you might never see at Celtic Park again. So, but in terms of a chance that we've got, Celtic Park going in a one and a half game, you've always got a chance. But if Real, I know we've been better than Rodgers' team and we're better equipped and everything about our team is better. If Real Madrid, turn up the way PSG did, we've not got a chance in hell. PSG, sorry. Doesn't matter what we do, we've no chance. So you're kind of hoping that Real Madrid, what they tend to do is they start slowly, they just get through the groups and then they start moving forward. So you're kind of hoping that the previous stats and etc. stack up and we don't need to worry about them in a sense. You just need to do what we can do and whatever they do, then it happens. But it's a massive game for us as well. It could, like you said as well, Friday with Barry, it could be one of the nights, Barcelona nights, could be a special night. They could come down here and get their pants took down, or they could come here and absolutely rout us. I do believe we'll score, but we all know it's enough to win the game. Again, I'm trying to be as realistic as I can. I know I'm wanting to win the game. I want us to put a good performance in because I know the way we play. There will be chances, by the way. We will get a few chances the way we play. Real Madrid under the Real Madrid defence where they used to be with Ramos and Varane and Marcelo and Cammy to the left, the right back was.
Carvajal won it.
Carvajal. I'll tell you what.
He's still playing.
Is he right? So, but they're missing Marcelo, who for me was superb. Ramos, he was always good for a year killed as well. So, but they've still got very good players going forward. Benzema, Modric. Benzema for me, it was the biggest test these guys have had in terms of quality, I would say. Vickers and if it's Starfelt or Jens, probably Jens if Starfelt's injured. Taylor, probably his biggest test as well as a Celtic player, I would say. Again, I didn't say that I would judge him on that now. But the way
it's hard to judge him against Vinicius Junior, mate, with that speed.
I do believe that we'll take a game to them, but we'll try. I don't think we'll be gung-ho like Rodgers did. It might look like that with the formation, but I don't think the way we play, the inverted full-backs will be tucked in and it'll be like a back five because whoever's playing the 6 role, they'll kind of step in and help. So you've just got to hope they don't turn up in their best player mind, because if they do, like I says in Celtic Rangers games, if we turn up to their game and they turn up to their game, there's only one winner. If they turn up to their game, it's ODB, there is only one winner, and you need to be honest about that. You've got to take your specs off. They are a quality team, but you've got to fancy your chances at home. Like we said with Barry and Friday, the atmosphere at Celtic Park is different for the Bernabeu, it's different for the New Camp, Real Betis, etc. They've not had an atmosphere like this in Spain. I know they've got quality players, but Man City struggled here. They struggled at Etihad against us, so it's going to be a hard JP. It is, I think we all know that, but there's no reason why you can't go and get a good result. There's no reason why you can't. If you run more than them and you press them and you do, if you match them or you do better than them, you've got every chance. Like at Man United, we all know Man United are well better than Brentford, but Brentford ran a lot more than them and chased more than them. They won the game. It's as simple as that. So if we can match their effort in that terms, which I think we will, because that's the way we play, then you've got every chance. But I'm not want to be negative, but you just don't hope we get a fucking pants down, because it's not going to give you the full momentum, but then you're going to go, fuck. The media is going to come out, Celtic back in Europe, pumped again, it'll be back kids. You know and I know, Barry, JP, it'll be back kids. Headlines, Celtic, dross again in Europe, Ange is going to fail in Europe. We all know what's going to happen. I've told you, with Barry, it's already wrote out in the fucking headlines already.
Aye.
It's already wrote out, Benzema.
It's already going on the iPads.
Aye, it's Benzema hat-trick, fucking Starfelt's a mess. It's already wrote out. It's already wrote out, but I don't want to keep going, but it's going to be hard. I'm not going to make a prediction because I do want to just enjoy the game and I want us to just do well. You would hope to get a point. I think that's the minimum you can ask for. and a good performance. But I'm under the illusion, some Celtic fans might be under the illusion that we can go and take the game and outclass them, etc. Aye, maybe in parts of the game, but it's going to be very hard to beat them in 90 minutes and for them to drop off. So I just hope a good performance. That's the main thing. You just want a good performance. If you get beat 1 or 2-0 and you've competed, then I'll take it. I don't want to get beat, but at least you know you can compete with these guys, because let's be fair, JB, have we really competed at this level? Yeah, I know we drew with Man City and stuff like that, but apart, and even under O'Neill, we didn't really do it in Europe when it comes to Champions League. So this is where the media as well, they will have a witch hunt out for Ange if we don't start the group with a decent performance, at least, I would say.
I would agree with that, because they're always looking to stick one into us all the time. That's well documented, and it's been well documented through the years, mate. That's not just something new that we've just plucked out of the air. There's evidence of that rolling back years and years and years. So, but same yourself, Barry. In terms of it, I mean, as I say, you welcome back to the Champions League. You've got Real Madrid, your first game, by the way, they're the holders. We were talking on Friday, Barry, and actually Barry Bannon mentioned that, and he says he doesn't think that Real Madrid are as good as what it's been driven in the medias. He thinks Real Madrid should actually have probably no won the Champions League, but they just have that wee bit about them that they've managed to get there. But if you look back at a couple of games prior to you look at the PSG game and then the Man City game, they looked even buried in one of the legs, if not two of the legs of their games. And then I personally thought Liverpool were better than them in the final. It was just that one chance that sort of just killed the game. What they have got in abundance is they're clinical, because they've got Benzema, guys like Modric, who can just turn the game on its head with a different class. They've got guys like Toni Kroos who can dictate, and they had Casemiro, but obviously he's at Man United now. I think they signed the big boy Rudiger for Chelsea, and they signed that other big lad from Monaco. Is it Tchouaméni his name is?
I don't want to say his name, but I know who you're talking about.
I think his name Tchouaméni or Tchouaméni or whatever his name is. The way they pronounce it, I don't know. And they've got big Camavinga. They have got genuine quality players who, I mean, let's face it, as Ryan says, Barry, they are a level above us, mate. That's why they've won fucking 14 Champions Leagues. But I love Slaney's take on it when he mentions the history between the two clubs. The amount of European trophies I've got between them is frightening. What a spin to put on that, but unbelievable the fact that they've won 14 and we've won 1. But no, in all honesty, mate, what's your overall thoughts? Obviously, we are in a good place. There's no doubt about that getting into the game. I'd imagine the players are going to be bouncing off the coach on Tuesday night. That atmosphere is going to be a lot more electric, even than it was yesterday, in my opinion. And I think our performance level needs to go up another level for it was yesterday. Because first and foremost, you're playing a much better opposition. But to give yourself any opportunity and any chance, because as Ryan said, we've all get chances. It's just the way we play. You need to be ready. You need to be, at that tempo that we're talking about, and everybody on the A game, because to give us any sort of chance. But I'm not going to write us off, because I've been there, we've seen it. We've got history of having a lot of special nights in the Champions League. It's what we're renowned for. So, what's your overall thoughts, mate? I'm not going to make any predictions either, by the way. So you're definitely not getting a scoreline off me. That's not happening. You batter on, mate. I mean, that's up to you, but I'm definitely not making a prediction to come on and end the post-match on this and probably have 100 comments at the bottom with laughy emojis laughing at me. I'd be sitting like Hugh Evans with my cold beans, by the way, like that, giving it, oh no, we get gubbed again after me predicting something different. But no, as I say, what's your overall thoughts, mate? And what you thinking about Tuesday, or are you even thinking about that, because it's only Sunday night, but that's the next game, so obviously we now need to turn the focus to it.
Yeah, well, I think it's an absolute privilege to have this fixture. I think to have the champions of Europe coming to play at Parkhead is a privilege, and I think everybody associated with Celtic should embrace this and just have a sense of excitement about, you know, the opportunity to take on really the kings of Europe. And out with Celtic, I think, in my opinion, this is the greatest club in the world. I think Real Madrid. You know, if you look at what they accomplished last season on road to winning it, I think it's probably, arguably, in my time watching Champions League football, the toughest route to winning that trophy, because they beat PSG, Chelsea, who were the holders, Man City, and then Liverpool in the final. Absolutely astonishing that they were able to have those fixtures and come through them on, eventually lift the trophy. So, and they're backed it up. They won the Super Cup, and they're sitting top of the La Liga now. And they've brought in reinforcements, as you said, JP. Some have went out the door, but they've recruited well.
What was the score in the Super Cup? Was it 4?
I can't mind that. I mean, there was a lot of Rangers.
Bearing in mind, Frankfurt are a top 1 Champions League team this season as well. So, and I'm sure they took, I think it was 4. Was it 4-0?
I remember.
I can't remember, JP. I put the game. I had forgot all about the game was even on, and I caught the last kind of 20 minutes of it. So, but I know they won it fairly comfortably anyway. And as I said, they're sitting top of the Spanish league now. So this is as good as it gets coming to play against your team. In terms of the actual match, what do I expect? Well, I'm getting into this more with I'm curious and I'm intrigued to see how our team can take the style of football that we play. As you say, JP, it's not going to change. We're going to get into that game where we're plan A, and we're going to play the same brand of football that we played yesterday. And how does that come up against the best teams in the world? That, for me, is the excitement I've broken into it. And my expectations are, I can't see this Celtic team losing too heavily. I don't see that happening. I think they've got too much professional pride. I think they've got too much. Their levels of fitness won't allow that to happen. And I think the occasion as well, you know, being at home, the form that we're in, the level of trust that these players have got in their style of play. I think all these things together safeguard us for, you know, a Brendan Rodgers team that get absolutely pumped 7-1 against PSG, for say. Can we win the game? I doubt it, if I'm being totally honest. Can we get a score draw? I think we could get a score draw. I think that's possible. I think that Real Madrid won't come to Celtic Park expecting to just walk all over us. I think there's too much experience in the team. Their manager is as shrewd as they get. Most successful manager in Champions League history, Carlo Ancelotti. So he's not going to show up underprepared. Real Madrid will treat this game the way they would any other Champions League game. What I would say is, if you look at their team, they're not the quickest team, except for Vinicius. They don't have pace on either side. So that might be an area that we might have the upper hand in terms of getting about the pitch, pressing. But then there's the inevitable risk that all they really need today, with Luka Modric, Vinicius and Benzema, they're probably 2 or 3 passes away, minimum, for sticking the ball in your net.
I agree.
Aye, and that could be on the back of you having a 10-minute spell where you're creating chances, you're looking well, and before you know it, you actually could, the ball could be in the back of your net. You've gone, how did that happen? So
that's a good point, Barry. Sorry to cut you in there, but it's just my mind. Paul Merson after the Man U game, don't know if you watched it. After the game, he says like the pass, was it Fernandes? It passed to, or was it Ericsson that passed to Rashford?
No, it was Eric. He was talking about Ericsson.
Aye, right, Barry. Aye. He says no matter how good you are at any level of defence, you can't stop the passes. So that's exactly what you're saying. If Modric plays one of these wonder passes through to Benzema, every chance you're not going to get him. That's so what you're saying. I do believe you're a wee triangle away for a goal, and that's why these guys are playing at that level. That's just the truth. And us as fans, we need to realise that there will be parts of the game tomorrow. Your heart's going to fuck. Let's be fair. If you're not going to be like that, then you're not a football fan. As soon as Benzema and Modric get the ball, you go, fuck, right, get in, fucking shape up. But I'm agreeing with you. I just thought to say that. It was true what Paul Merson says, and what you've said, it's true that these guys they're probably 3 or 4 passes ahead already. Like Modric will be turning already, scanning. Benzema, for me, I'm expecting a Cavani performance after him because he's phenomenal. And that's what I'm saying. We need to be at a game, Barry.
Yeah, and Real Madrid, this Real Madrid anyway, they're not actually a team that, you know, they're not a team that are obsessed with having the ball all the time either. You know, looking at their run towards winning it last year, I think most games the other team had the bulk of the possession. They're just so clinical, ruthless, take their chances. So I think we need to watch that. I mean, it's cliche, right? But can you actually imagine with the atmosphere we're going to generate, the quick start that we're probably going to get? Can you imagine if we score the first goal? That definitely makes it interesting. If we get the first goal, who knows what could happen? But I won't make a prediction about that because I definitely don't want to come back on here and get slaughtered.
No, and I think it's just as you say, can we get the first goal? Do we really want to wake them up? It's like waking up a fucking sleeping bear. If we score first, you're right, mate. You know, like we could go up the park and score, and you think you're well in the game and you're doing really well. And before you know it, Benzema's doing a hat trick. That's how good these guys are. They're elite. They're very special. I don't know if any of you saw a recent video they put out on social media. I think it was on Instagram, and they're all taking free kicks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Every one of them scored.
Yeah.
Militao, fucking Benzema, Cruz, Modric. Who's the boy at the boy that plays out the wide? Not a Vinicius Junior, other boy. Rodrigo. Oh my goodness gracious me. He done one with 2. He done one with his left, then done one with his right. And you're just like, come on, man. So I actually don't think they've got a natural, like, he takes all the set pieces. Because they all, you know, they're all really special. But no, I think that the simple fact that very quickly on Tuesday, guys, I think we need to get the mindset out of, it's happy to be there, shit. No, we need to, what we need to do on Tuesdays, we need to try and compete.
Yeah.
And to do that, we need to get in their faces, we need to be competitive in the game. Similar to when Scotland went to Wembley. We shocked them. But I think they just thought they were going to turn up and steamroll the tappies. Now, as Ryan says earlier, Barry, I think the Spanish media will be expecting them to come and, cats in a cakewalk. That's they've only got a team in Scotland. And as Barry Bannon says, we were talking to Barry the other night as well, and that's, you know, the wider media, a lot of the media see us as a Mickey Mouse League up here, mate. They see us as a you know, like a mud splasher team for the back of Calcutta. That's the way they see our league, mate. They don't rate our league at all. So they're massively surprised, and I don't know why, because it happens regularly. When we come up against English opposition in Europe especially, we've got a great record against English teams. So many of them have turned us there in the last 15, 20 years. We beat Man United, Man City couldn't beat us.
Liverpool
Put them out. We beat them at Anfield. that was a great result. Great night, I know. Again, Blackburn, when they were in the Premier League, I know it was a friendly, but we turned there a Leeds team. We took 4 off them down the road, down at Ellen Road. So, as I say, and we've just turned there a team, you know, pre-season there, we beat Norwich, who just dropped for the Premier League. I know people are going to go, oh, shut up, they're in a champ. But we're in the Premier League now a while ago.
It was a Premier League squad, Norwich had.
Well, that's what I was saying. The players are all Premier League squads, guys that were getting paid thousands upon thousands a week. So as I say, we've got a great record against English opposition. We've got a decent record in terms of, you know, pulling out big results in Europe. You look at Barcelona. David Marshall made his debut against them. We beat them 1-0. We went out to the Nou Camp, we drew enough in each, we knocked them out of Europe. That was a massive shock. Because we weren't expected to knock them out of Europe. Then a game at Parkhead when Tony Watt scored the winner. Big Wanyama with that header. And as Ryan says the other night, mate, that was Barcelona's fucking prime Barcelona team. All right, they didn't have Guardiola. I think the only one that looked a wee bit out of sorts that night was that boy Song, Alex Song. He was probably the only one that wasn't, in my opinion, up to that sort of level. Maybe it was just the way he played that night, I don't know. But when we've got Effie Ambrose and Miku in my team and we're still turning them out, you must be doing something right. Then you look at the A-teams, guys, right? And then you look at that Celtic team now. There's nobody in the Celtic team now you go, fuck man, I hope he's not playing. Or oh no man, I hope he's not playing. Or oh no man, I hope he's not. Whereas in years past, when you're looking at Big Effie and you're looking at guys, you know, who you maybe just didn't rate, you're going, oh man, we're going to get it down. And then Big Effie travels all the way back to the African nations. We get to the last, so it be the group stage of the group stage of the Champions League, and then Juventus come and turn us there after the way we played in the group stages of the Champions League. All because he was, I don't know what he drank on the plane on the way home, but he was absolutely brutal. And that, for me, was the start of Big Effie's sort of downfall at Celtic. After that night against Juventus, in my opinion, he just didn't recover. He just kept making daft errors and stupid things he was getting caught up in and on the park and getting the ball away and being too lackadaisical. But you look at that Celtic team now and you go, is there anybody there that you would really go, no, I don't want him to play or I don't want him to play. In my opinion, guys, no, there's no. We're all chomping at the bit now with the players that are on and you know, and that's it. But obviously, that was the last wee bit of the pod there, guys. I just wanted to cover a wee bit of the Real Madrid game for us. It's been a total pleasure being on the night and speaking and then the post-match. I know you've all got beds to go to. Ryan's hanging like a bag of washing, so we need to sort of let him go. If you want, mate, I'll get that sent up to you, Phil, with some nice hot cocoa. By the way, he's autographed it for you as well. I don't know if you can see that there.
I don't know, but you better have cream on it, but marshmallows.
Sorry, mate, that's not my department.
That's Gio's department.
That's Gio's department. You need to phone Roy Mackay, mate. I'm sure he looks after all that kind of stuff for him. Roy Mackay and Ross Wilson. I'm sure I think they do stuff like that for him. So, we'll need to get my new rocking horse, man. He fell back on it the other day after the fourth goal went in and snapped the handlebars. So, but for all the listeners that are listening in, and sorry we've took out a lot of your time tonight. I think that's quite a long time I've been on tonight, but obviously that's what happens when you get engrossed talking about what you love. But for all the listeners listening in, please hit the subscribe button on my YouTube page. You'll get a live notification when the page goes live, and you'll be notified about obviously any guest episodes or anything that's coming up for the page as well. Myself, Barry, Ryan, we're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I believe you're now on, Barry, is that right?
Yeah, I
am. On Twitter as well. Yeah. So And Ryan, he's the architect of my new TikTok. My new TikTok page. He does a couple of wee jazzy videos on there. He makes it look quite fun. So please don't hesitate to hit subscribe, guys, if you like the content. Lots more content on the way for you. But as I say, guys, tonight's been a total pleasure being on with you. A massive hail, and I'll see you again.
Hail, mate.
Hail.